The Dallas Mavericks really traded Luka Doncic. A week and a half later, I still can't believe it. But before we get started on that, I want to tell you guys to hit that subscribe button, like, comment, share, and continue to support my channel. I'm still speechless a week and a half later. I'm still speechless. And a lot has happened with the Dallas Mavericks since they traded Luka Doncic. I mean, we've had their owner, Patrick Dumont, make a quote saying that I've watched guys like Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, and Shaq, and all of these guys worked very hard and they were committed to winning, and that if you aren't willing to do all of those things, you shouldn't be a Dallas Maverick. Like, that was a real quote from the owner, Patrick Dumont. And we've had the Dallas Maverick fans kind of go on a protest, in front of the stadium in Dallas, talking about, he's not fat, bring him back. 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 I mean, oh man. I mean, them Dallas Maverick fans, man, they going through it. And then, I think at that same exact game, or maybe it might have been like a couple of games later or so, you had a couple of Dallas Maverick fans hold up a sign saying fire Nico. And, those fans got thrown out the game. And so you've had that. And even the worst of all, when it comes to what's happened with the Dallas Mavericks, Anthony Davis injured his shoulder, or not his shoulder, but I think his oblique or whatever. But he suffered a real injury, and he's going to be out for at least a month, and possibly even more. And so what we're seeing right now when it comes to the Dallas Mavericks is their team is in free fall. Their team right now is 28-26. They're currently 7th in the Western Conference. And as a matter of fact, they're a game and a half out of 11th. Meaning the Dallas Mavericks are a game and a half out of missing the play-in, which means they could miss the playoffs entirely if things go the way that they've been going. And look, the Dallas Mavericks they've been injured. They've been decimated with injuries as of late. Not only is Anthony Davis out, but Daniel Gafford's out. Derek Lively's out, and so their entire center power forward rotation is out with injury, and so that's not good at all. And when you're talking about Anthony Davis, I mean, isn't it ironic that the reason you traded Luka is because you were fearful that he wasn't going to be able to stay healthy long term, and that you didn't want to commit $340+ million to a guy that, quote unquote, isn't willing to get himself in shape and stay healthy and all this other stuff. And ironically, you traded for a guy who's older than Luka Doncic, who also has injury problems, who's had injury problems in his career, and he's out with a oblique injury. And so, things have not been going well for the Dallas Mavericks at all. And on the flip side, when you look at the Lakers, Luka Doncic literally just made his debut just the other night against the Utah Jazz, and the Lakers won. Now, Luka, in his debut, you can tell he was a little rusty. I think he had 14 points. I think he was like 5 for 15 shooting or something like that. So he didn't really shoot the ball all that great, but you could tell he was a little rusty. And you could tell the potential that you could see with LeBron and Luka together. And so the Lakers, who also, prior to them trading for Luka Doncic, they've been on a legit tear as of late. They've won 9 out of 10, including they've won 8 games in a row. And so the Lakers are rolling right now. And it creates a lot of intrigue as to how things are going to look with Luka Doncic, moving forward with the Lakers. But make no mistake about it, man. the Dallas Mavericks, I mean, like I said before, they actually traded Luka Doncic. They traded Luka Doncic, a 25-year-old superstar. And look, I get it. He has not been, in the greatest of shape throughout his career, especially early in the games. Like, he's been out of shape. He's put on a lot of weight. Sometimes you wonder about his conditioning. And I think all of those things are, in some ways, are valid, especially if you look at Luka, especially as to like how he might age, especially when he enters his 30s. Like, there's a world in which Luka Doncic, by the time he's, I don't know, 32, 31, 32, 33, where, he has injuries and he kind of wears out. That could very well happen. But man, Luka Doncic just last year carried you to the NBA Finals. Luka Doncic is a five-time first team All NBA player. This is Luka Doncic that we're talking about here. And the Dallas Mavericks was just like, he's not in shape. He's not committed. We don't think he's going to stay healthy. We don't think he's going to last long term. We don't think he's going to commit and do the work and get himself in shape and do whatever he needs to do to go all out and maximize his potential and commit to being a Dallas Maverick. We don't think he's committed to that. That's what Nico Harrison told the world and told Dallas Maverick fans, that they did not think Luka Doncic would commit to all of that. And I'm just, like I said, a week and a half later, I'm still baffled by the Dallas Mavericks trading Luka Doncic, because I get it. He might not commit himself to the highest level of being in shape. I get it. But man, despite all of these issues that Luka Doncic has had, he is still great. He is still one of the top 3 to 4 players in the world. In the playoffs, he's become one of the bigger playoff risers in the league, maybe even in NBA history. Like, this is a guy who elevates himself in the playoffs every year. His statistics, his efficiency, his points per game, his assists per game, all go up in the playoffs. This is Luka Doncic. And again, he got you to the NBA Finals just last year. And you traded him? And you traded him for Anthony Davis, who, look, Anthony Davis is great himself. And look, before Anthony Davis suffered that injury, he was making a statement saying that, okay, Dallas, I got y'all. I'm that dude. I'm still special. I'm still one of the best dudes in the league. I'm Anthony Davis. Like, he was putting it on Houston. And he had to the tune of 25 points in the first half. So Anthony Davis was doing his thing. And then he got hurt. And he had to leave the game. And like I said, who knows how long he's going to be out. And so just for the Dallas Mavericks, man, it sucks that Anthony Davis is injured. And it sucks that their team is going through it from an injury standpoint and from all of this drama. It's unfortunate, that they've had to deal with these injuries. But, man, it's rough. It is rough that if I'm a Dallas Maverick fan, like, I get it. I get their frustration. I get the anger, because I would feel that they took apart that the Dallas Mavericks just traded someone that was one of us, that they traded our guy that we've been watching and rooting for and watching him grow up and mature and develop for the past 7 years. And it's like the Dallas Mavericks organization just took him away from us. And I get it. I really, really, really get it, man. And the Dallas Mavericks trading Luka Doncic could really blow up in Dallas's faces. Maybe as soon as this year, depending on how good the Lakers become in the playoffs. It could there's a lot that could go wrong for the Dallas Mavericks when it comes to trading Luka Doncic. I mean, seriously, imagine if the Lakers with LeBron and Luka go to the finals. I mean, imagine, while on the flip side, the Dallas Mavericks end up missing the playoffs entirely. I mean, oh my God. I mean, that would be even more of a stab to the heart for the Dallas Mavericks if that happens. I mean, imagine the possibilities of that happening. And like I said, man, the Dallas Mavericks, and by the way, I thought the Dallas Mavericks had a legit contending team before they traded Luka. I mean, I really like what they were doing this season before the injuries. You had Luka, and you had Kyrie, and you had Derek Lively, and you had PJ Washington, and you had Daniel Gafford and Klay Thompson and Najee Marshall and Grimes. They had a squad, and they just broke it up. And so, man, I mean, I just don't know what else to say. I really don't know what else to say when it comes to the Dallas Mavericks and them trading Luka Doncic, because I mean, he was their everything to that city and to that franchise, and he galvanized that fan base. And I mean, it's just like I said, man. Could you imagine 20 years ago if the Lakers traded Kobe Bryant when Kobe Bryant was in his mid-20s? Could you imagine the San Antonio Spurs trading Tim Duncan when he was in his mid-20s? I mean, it's remarkable. It's unbelievable what we've witnessed. I mean, NBA franchises don't trade mid-20-year-old superstars in their prime. Those type of things just don't happen. And the Dallas Mavericks actually traded Luka Doncic. And by the way, not only did they just trade Luka Doncic, they traded him to the franchise that's been historically known for getting superstars all the time. They traded him to the Los Angeles Lakers. And look, and when it comes to the Lakers, I mean, goodness. I mean, how fortunate are the Los Angeles Lakers right now? Seriously, how fortunate are the Lakers? You're talking about a franchise that's had Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And then as soon as Magic Johnson retires, they get Shaq. And then they get Shaq and they draft Kobe. And then, they get Shaq and Kobe and they go and they win 3 straight championships. And then Shaq moves on and you have Kobe. And then you have Kobe for about 2 or 3 years. And then you trade for Paul Gasol. So you have Kobe and Paul Gasol, right? And then you win 2 championships with those two. And then after that, you have Kobe. And then you have Dwight Howard for a little bit. And then Kobe injures his Achilles and he gets a little old and then he retires. And then a couple of years later, after Kobe retires, you get LeBron James, for crying out loud. And then you get LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And then now, you have LeBron and AD for a few years. And now you trade Anthony Davis and you get Luka Doncic. I mean, good Lord, man. I mean, seriously? And now, in all likelihood, LeBron is going to probably retire. And you know what's going to happen with the Lakers? They're going to get another superstar. They're going to get somebody. They'll probably get Giannis, for crying out loud. I'm just guessing. And so, I mean, good Lord have mercy. Yeah, the Lakers, man, I mean, hey, they do it again. They do it again. The Los Angeles Lakers get another superstar. And we all know what's going to happen. They're gonna have LeBron. LeBron's gonna retire in a couple of years, and they're gonna get and when he retires, what's gonna happen? Luka's gonna get some help, and he's gonna get another superstar. Next to the Luka Doncic is gonna get another superstar in LA, and the Lakers are gonna win the championship. That's what's gonna happen. It's gonna happen at some point over the next 5 years. And when it happens, I think the Dallas Mavericks fan base and their organization will never see the light of day when Luka Doncic wins a championship. And that's just all there is to it. That's all there is to it. And if I'm a Dallas Maverick fan, I have to be puking, throwing up every single day, knowing the fact that my franchise just traded the greatest player in my franchise's history. With all due respect to Dirk Nowitzki, love you, Dirk, but we know the deal. Luka Doncic is the best player in that franchise ever, and they traded him. And so, yeah, it's like I said, a week and a half later, I still can't believe that the Dallas Mavericks traded Luka Doncic. And hey, I'm just going to be honest about it. I think if I had to bet, I would bet that the Dallas Mavericks will ultimately regret that decision. Let's just call it for what it is. Like, the only way, like there's only one scenario that I think the Dallas Mavericks will ultimately come to the conclusion that was the right decision of them moving Luka Doncic. And the only way that happens is if either the Mavs win a championship over the next 2 to 3 years, or Luka Doncic becomes so injured and so banged up and becomes basically Zion Williamson or Joel Embiid from a health standpoint, and that he just prevents LA from winning a championship and his injuries are too much to overcome. Like, that's the only scenario that you could see that Dallas make the right decision to Luka Doncic in. Here's the thing with Luka. He's playing with LeBron James. He's playing with the dude in LeBron, who I believe is probably the most well-conditioned athlete in all of sports. Maybe in sports history. This is a guy who's 40 years old who keeps himself in peak condition. And so Luka Doncic, for the next year and a half at minimum, is going to have the opportunity to learn from this dude and understand what it takes to commit his body, get in shape, commit to lifting weights, running, whatever. Luka Doncic has the opportunity to learn from arguably the greatest player ever in LeBron James, especially from the standpoint of knowing how to condition his body and get in shape and work and work and work and work. And if Luka Doncic commits to that, Dallas, you won't know what you won't know what hit you. If Luka Doncic somehow just never suffers any injuries long term, because seriously, he landed in the perfect situation, with the Lakers and with LeBron James. And so you have a guy in LeBron who can help Luka with whatever conditioning issues that he has. And so, yeah, like I said earlier, I think there's a real there's a real chance that, Dallas will rule today, seriously rule today, that they traded Luka Doncic.